Coming up from the last example, I'm not really the best person to talk about how shaders are made and how you create your own shaders. I usually just go for shaders that already exist, sometimes in the asset library, sometimes on GitHub, sometimes going to be honest, I just ask AI to write me a shader or to convert a specific shader from other languages to something that Godot understands. I think there is no shame in that. It's a lot better than creating Skibidi Toilet videos. So we are going to remove the material and make our capsule full white again. Let's look from this side so we have a fully lit preview. We're going to select it again, and for this one, let's see, a shader material. And the shader is empty here. We can try to quick load if we already have some shaders, and you can see that I already have some. And let's see, terrain slope altitude, it's not really the best one. Wind curve deform. This is a good one because it applies vertex distortion to the object with a rigidity curve. This would be a gradient texture 1D, and there you go. I don't really remember if white is rigid and black is flabby or the other way around, but that is something that we can try and see here. I think the minimum is 32 pixels. That's like 32 deformation steps. You probably don't want to go overboard here because more steps means more subdivision, unless the subdivision is not being used. But in this case, we are using a native Godot mesh, and it has a lot more polygons than it looks like. So there is no subdivision in play here. This is just using the polygons that already exist in the shape. I'm correcting myself there, sorry. Yeah, let's see. Is black rigid? No. Is white rigid? Yes. So white is rigid, but you can go only up to the half. So this is probably best used to simulate like a branch, that you would have like the actual branch, the solid part, and this would be the leaves. This is one of the neat things shaders can do, is just deform a mesh in some specific way. This shader, for example, lets you define a wind direction and also the intensity, which is just how much deformation, how intense the deformation is actually. This is the speed, obviously, and the frequency. This is not correctly set up. You would have to play around with this to get it working just the way you want. But just to give you an idea of what shaders can do, if I quick load another material with a shader, I might have some water here. Let's see, there's this one. You can see that it's flowing. It's a flow map shader. For those who don't know what a flow map is, it's just basically a grid, and each square moves the texture in a different direction. And this is controlled by parameters or by a mask or in any way the shader allows. This one, you can see that it's a lot slower because these are presets that I had created. This is like flowing water for a river. This is like for a lake. No, this is the river. This is the lake. This is the default, which is basically the same as the river. It has a strong current, and yeah, it flows in a different direction depending on if it finds a solid object or a terrain. This is a swamp preset that I also made, which has darker water. The water doesn't move. It just, the surface moves a little bit, but there is no current. And this is for the rapids. It's really very fast. This is also adapted to the size of the mesh, so on bigger meshes it will look slower than on smaller meshes, which looks like very fast. It's like the Chihuahua effect, I would say. The smaller they are, the nastier they get. So yeah, and this is just flat water. Let's use this one as an example. This one, it's not very intense and may not cause any seizures. Why is the material gone? Just a second, I have to quick load it again. Yeah, we double click it and there you go. So as this is a shader material, it will have completely different parameters from a PBR material, as you can see, and every material will have different parameters if the shader is different. So depending on which kind of effect you are looking for, you will have to probably configure that effect manually many times. And that's where saving materials will save you time, as I said before, because you can always save the material over, or you can save it as a new material and you can make it unique. So you can use the base material, make like a clone of it without saving it. It's just on runtime. It doesn't exist anywhere on the disk. It's like sometimes it's a good measure to save on disk space, but if you want to have access to this particular instance of the material later without having to go look for it, copying, pasting, I recommend you save the material and make a folder where you have material presets, make a folder where you have mesh presets or prefabs with materials applied and like variants of the same mesh, because this is the basics of what will allow you to create good and believable maps. So maybe we can try other shaders just for demonstrational purposes, but I think I covered most of the basics of what the shader is, what it does, and how to use it in your objects. Let's see. There are some grass shaders, I think, but no, this is a PBR material. As you can see, transparency, shading, vertex, color, albedo, the, I would say, default parameter set for a material that allows you to make mostly static materials. Yeah, I had some grass from a plugin, but I don't really think it's going to work here. Let's try and see if I can just quick load a shader here. Exactly. And just have a look at what it does, right? That's what we are here for. This one here doesn't work here in this context. This is just a base shader, I guess. Oh, this terrain slope altitude. This is a material mixer. I remember why I did this. It's not really working properly, I think, last time I checked. Or maybe it does. Maybe it does. Let's see. And then material B. We quick load something else in a different color. Green is good. Okay. This is not bad. I mean, you need more polygons to use this material properly. If your object has lower poly count, and that's maybe what was happening the other time I tried, the blending is just weird. Okay, but in this case you can see that surfaces that have a slope or are flat in this case get texture A, and anything that has a steep surface like a drop, a wall, anything like this, then you get material B. And yeah, you could change the blending. Yeah, let's say we want to invert this maybe, or maybe we don't. We can also invert here, which is probably better. So at 90-degree slopes, look at that. I'm just giving a little bit of tolerance. So between 89.789 and 90 degrees, you get texture B. And this is the power of shaders, basically. You can do things that PBR materials don't allow you to do right out of the box without maybe some gimmicks, some scripting. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the introduction to shaders. Like I said, I'm not going to teach you how to create shaders. I don't know how to create shaders myself. I can maybe read the code, make some adjustments, but it's like not something I can build from the ground up. There is some kind of visual scripting for shaders, like a node-based thing that you can just connect stuff. That's the workflow I like the most, but I haven't tried it yet. There's a lot of things on my plate right now, and yeah, this is what I've learned so far, and I wanted to share with the team, and yeah, with whoever is following these tutorials. Once again, thank you if you are watching, and I'll see you in the next one.